In this video, I'll show you how to create these 4 text animations. Grab your iPad and your pencil, and let's get started. Let's first create a new canvas. I'm going to choose screen size, but you can choose any one you want. Now that the canvas is created, I'm going to first go to Layers and turn off the background color. I'm going to then go to the wrench, Add text. What I'm going to do here is to create a reference, a text reference where I can write on top of over and over to create that wiggle effect. So let's select the entire word so I can change it into a font I like. I'm going to choose this one. If this is too finicky, you can always click on it. Done. Okay, so the next step is for us to turn on a setting called Animation Assist. On check, layer 1. Now the next step is for us to write over our reference layer. Let's first create a new frame and choose our brush. I'm going to use the brush pen under calligraphy. It comes with the default Procreate brush set, so you should be able to find it if you have the Procreate app. Next, let's choose a different color. I'm going to choose pure white. There are 2 ways for you to select that color. Move this circle all the way to the top left corner, or double tap and pure white is selected. What I'm going to do is go to the layers and actually make frame 2, which is the first time we write on top of Spark, invisible. The reason for that is when I create the next frame, I want to be able to see my original reference, which is this matcha green Spark frame. Come back here, add frame, right on top of it again. Repeat the process. Now we can turn everything back on. So at the bottom, you'll see that we have 6 frames in total. Let's first see what it looks like when we hit play. We're getting there. This matcha green layer is a bit jarring. So what we're going to do is let's hit pause. Let's see what it looks like when we turn off this text layer. I think that's a lot better. I want to make it a little bit slower. What I can do here is to use setting, and I can change the speed of the movement by turning up or down the frames per second. Let's see what it looks like when I turn it down to 10. That's already a lot better, but I still think it's too fast for me. So I'm going to continue moving this to the left side. I think 5 looks pretty good. For the second text effect, we're going to again create a new canvas. Just like earlier, we're going to add text. Now we have our base layer. Let's go and turn on our Animation Assist. For the brush, we're going to choose Studio Pen this time, and it's under inking. It still comes with the Procreate default brush set, so you should have access to it if you have the app. For this effect, we're not going to write directly on top of the letters like we did earlier. Instead, we're going to write around the letters. This is one of my favorite text effects because it creates this very cute hollow text effect. The first one is created. If we turn off our reference layer, you can see this is what it looks like. I think it's very cute. It has a lot more character than if you were to directly write on top of it. Let's create 4 more frames just like this one. Again, because of the nature of handwriting, it's not going to be perfectly uniform every single time, which is the effect we're going for. Now we have created 5 frames. Let's turn them all back on. Like earlier, we're going to turn off our reference layer. Let's hit play to see what it looks like. It looks pretty good, but it's moving way too fast. So what I'm going to do here is again hit the setting and change the frames per second down to 5 like earlier. That looks pretty good. If you think that's still a little bit too fast, you can turn it down to 3. I think 3 actually looks really good. So this is what it looks like. If you think just the text is a little bit too boring, you want to add some decorative pieces, you can very easily do that by using the same technique. Let's go back to our original reference layer, which is the spark one. Let's turn that back on, but we're going to turn everything off. Let's create a new layer on top of it. Let's just create some random stars. Let's turn off the text reference layer, but we're going to leave the new layer we created with the stars. Now we just finished all of the frames. Let's turn everything back on. Let's see how it looks when we hit play. Now let's create our text animation effect number 3. We're going to then add frame. That's going to be my first stroke. Add a frame. That's quite a few layers we have here. So let's turn them all back on. Let's see what it looks like when we hit play. I think overall it looks pretty good. It's doing what we want it to do, but it's a bit too fast still. So let's turn down the frames. Okay, let's stick with 5. I think 5 looks really good. For this text effect, instead of handwriting everything, we'll use functions that come within the Procreate app, such as tools under Transform or Adjustments. I have already created my text. Now this looks a little bit bare, so let's add some cute images to make it more interesting. Next, I'll combine the text layer and the image layers into one by pinching them together. The next step is to duplicate this layer a few times. I'll do 5 here. We'll use the Transform and Adjustments tools to change these layers. but only slightly. So when we play the animation, we'll see the movements of all these layers. To do that, let's first turn on Animation Assist. So now we can see the layers we created earlier are now showing here as frames. Then we'll select a layer. I will be using the first layer as my base layer, so I'll leave this one alone. Let's choose the next layer. To make it easier for me to see which layer I'm operating on, I'm going to turn off all the layers that's above this currently selected layer. Go to Transform and select Freeform. This tool allows us to stretch our layer in any direction we like by dragging any blue node we see on the screen without preserving the original proportions. If you do want to keep the original proportion, you can use Uniform. I'll be using the Freeform tool for this layer. Next, we'll select another layer, and this time I'll go to Transform and select Distort. This tool is great at showing angles or creating some depth of the object. Remember, here we're only moving each layer slightly from the previous layer. For the next layer, we'll use Warp under Transform. As soon as we select it, you can see a mesh hovering over our image. I can then touch any point within this mesh to wrap and fold the image, like so. This is my favorite tool to create text animation because it is so flexible and I can change the image in almost any way I can imagine. We have come to our last layer. Let's make that visible. For this one, I'll use a different tool. Let's go to Adjustments and Liquify. This tool is great at creating organic and one-of-a-kind movements for the image. Like the name suggests, it can move your image as if it's liquid. You can use any of these different modes or any combination of them to create an entire animation. Now that we're done with all the layers, let's hit play to see what it looks like. Let's turn down the frames per second. Okay, so this is how you can create these 4 text animations. Leave a comment below and let me know which one is your favorite. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.